Hello and welcome to the Rogues Den show. Today we have Joshua, and you're going to talk about the Great
North Walk.
Right, what's that?
It's a bushwalk that goes from Circular Quay in Sydney all the way up to Queen's Wharf in Newcastle.
Wow,
That's a long way.
It is.
I guess that's why they call it the Great Walk.
The Great North Walk.
The Great North Walk.
You have to. It can be done as a series of day walks, weekend hikes, or if you're very keen, a 2-week solid through hike.
2 weeks.
If you're keen.
Ooh. Say I am keen. Is it open to the public or is it a private event?
It's open to the public. There are some parts where you will have to cross over into private property. There are some areas where you will need to cross into private property and property lines, but you're allowed on them.
That's really interesting. Have you ever done it?
I've done a small part of it down near where I live.
Right. How often do people go on this walk?
Oh, they can do it most of the year if it's not too hot, or mostly in the winter time. That's the best time I recommend to do it in July and August.
If you were to go on this walk, would you bring anything? I assume that you'd bring stuff with you. This isn't like an event. This is a place.
Oh, if you're doing the Wadigan section, I'd probably recommend you'd have to bring lots of food, go camping, and you'd have to bring camping gear and knowing how to be in the wild for a few days, because it's remote.
That's pretty interesting. So the walk itself is, because it's so long, it's not just a walk. Calling it a walk is underselling it.
Underselling it, yeah.
It's a hike, camping trip, that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's a hike/camping trip. You don't have to do it all in one hit. There's camping and rest areas along the way.
That's cool. Was it designed for this, or do people just use it for that?
It was created to commemorate the centenary of the bicentenary year in 1988. What was to commemorate.
What's the bicentenary?
Well, in 1988, Australia celebrated its bicentenary year of settlement. That's how the Great North Walk got started.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Does it follow mostly coastline? Or?
It mostly follows along the bushland to inland from the populated areas north of Sydney and to the west of the Central Coast and southwest of Newcastle.
Yeah, cool. What would you take with you if you were to do this walk?
I'd probably recommend you take lots of water, a lot of non-perishable food, so not food that's heavy, so lightweight food.
Like a beef jerky and stuff like that.
No.
No, Daniel.
Not
something
that.
Good and nutritious.
No, not that.
You
type.
idiot.
What were you thinking about then?
Yeah, so my question is, if someone wasn't to start at Circular Quay or Queen's Wharf, how will they know which part of it is the path for the Great North Walk?
Oh, it'll be shown on the trackhead signs all along the walk. The trackhead signs will mark the way how far you are between the two destinations. So, for example, if you're up at Heaton Lookout, it'll show you how far you are from Queen's Wharf and how far you are from Sydney Cove, Circular Quay.
That's pretty cool.
Cool.
There's a good app called All Trails as well.
Yes.
All trails.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. So obviously people use GPS's maps and stuff.
Yeah.
Can you get reception all throughout, or do you actually need a physical map like a heathen?
Some areas you can't get reception because it's so remote.
So you would need a map.
You'd probably either have to download the map on your phone, or you can either have the book, the Great North Walk book that I have.
This reminds me of a great invention. It's an idea that I had. Here's the idea. Because sat-navs are, you need reception in order to do that. What you should do, what I think would be a good invention is if they took on the maps from a sat-nav and they printed them and put them into a book, and we can call it a satless.
Satless. Oh, it's not.
I guess it's better than the nat-nav.
There is 2 sections of the walk that cannot be done during the summertime, and that section is between the Onsley State Forest and Heaton Gap.
Is that because of the weather?
Yes, partly that's part of the reason. The main reason is it gets really, really hot up there, and the bushfire risk can be extremely high during our bushfire season.
Damn. Is this actually really dangerous?
Not technically if you know the risks of the bush, like if you like for lighting, because people go camping and they light campfires, and there's risks that if a campfire ignites, it could start a bushfire in there. So that's why we don't recommend bushwalking in the fire season or in the hottest part of the year.
Okay, so no bushfires, no gender reveals. Not around there.
No lighting fires.
What about wildlife, Joshua?
There is a lot of wildlife around. You got to be aware of things like goannas, skinks, and things like that, and
Snakes.
snakes, kangaroos, wallabies.
It's Australia. It's all snakes.
Occasionally you might see echidnas.
Echidnas.
You might occasionally see them if you're lucky.
I heard they're pricks.
The most common ones you'll see will either be goannas and skinks. You'll probably
What
see.
the hell is a skink?
A skink is a small lizard that you might find in water areas like near creeks and things like that.
Oh, that's interesting.
They're not very big. No.
They were named after a skunk, I guess.
Yeah.
Or secretly a skunk was named after a skink. Conspiracy theory confirmed, because I said it. Do you ever want to do the entire walk?
Yeah, so I'd like to complete the entire walk, not all in one hit, but in sections.
Mm-hmm. So you just walk it'll take you about 2 weeks. So do you want to do it over those 2 weeks?
Oh, no, not over the 2 week period, but doing it as a series of day walks or weekend or 2 day or overnight hikes would work. So you don't get too puffed out.
That's fair.
Some stretches of the walk are pretty steep, especially the drop from Heaton Lookout down to Heaton Gap is pretty steep.
That is one hell of an active program.
Yeah.
And what would you rate the walk?
I'd probably rate the walk as about 4.5 star.
Out of 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's well maintained. It's well maintained. The walk is.
That's an excellent point. So this is a trail.
Yeah.
It's really long. So who maintains it?
It's maintained by the Department of Land's New South Wales, which is a division of National Parks and Wildlife. It is.
So even though it's so long, it's part of the National Parks
Department of Lands.
Department of Lands. That's cool.
They're the ones who maintain the walk and keep up with the signage and making sure that we can get access to the walk all year round. Yeah.
That sounds really interesting.
Awesome.
All right, this weekend, you and me, let's do this.
You'd probably wait until autumn or winter.
No, I'm confident. Let's do this.
Are you confident trying to do the hardest stretch of the walk?
Maybe,
Which is the Wadigans?
You shouldn't question his commitment.
let's not do that section, but like the rest of it, we'll just skip over that part.
You could try doing the easy stretches like along the water or along the edge of the lake.
Easy stretch. Last time I did something hard, I gave up halfway through because there was a bubble slide. And I just went on the bubble slide instead. That's a true story. That was the board challenge, I think. They just had a bubble slide the last thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for telling me about my new active goal.
Yeah.
To do this whole thing in 4 days. It'll be great. Thank you for coming on.
That's okay.
All right. That was the Rogues Den show. I've been Daniel.
And you are? What's your name?
Joshua. I'm Joshua Vitols.
And see you next week.
Next week.